teachers. I'm Haley Huberty. I'm the Professional Development Manager at Creative Learning Systems. We're so excited that you're interested in using our curriculum to support digital learning. So I'm going to give you a little intro about how to use it and some just tips as you get started with your students. So this is going to be focused on primary learners. So those are students in kindergarten through second grade. It can also be used for older students who may need some more scaffolding and support. So you can really use it for any grade level, just depending on what is appropriate for that child. So you're going to log in using the username eLearning, and the password is 2020. Once you log in, this is what you and your students will see when you first log in. Each of these circles represents a different group of curriculum. Primary learners are really going to be using the activity cards. That's probably the only curriculum you will have them access. Another node that you're going to use is orientation. In here has some resources for getting started with digital learning. So know that it's here for you. There are some tips here for getting started, for how to document learning with primary learners, some templates that you can use, all sorts of resources here. So definitely come and take a look. There's a few here that we'll go into in a little more depth in a little bit. There's also all of our webinars that we held the week of, March 16th. So there's some really good resources, again, best practices when implementing digital learning. So these are here for you, and we'll continue to add more as they happen. So going back to the activity cards, you'll click on this circle, or your students will, and we have our curriculum set up in 8 different systems of technology. So that's kind of big overarching categories that separate how technology is used or applied. And we've narrowed this down to the activity cards that can be done with digital resources or just kind of anything kids can find at home. So here there's only 5 systems of technology. But if we then click on computer graphics, here's an activity card called 2D Shapes and Outlines, and it uses a website called Cookie Caster. So students can actually design a little cookie cutter and then 3D print it. If they have access to a 3D printer, if you have one at school, they could do it upon return, or it's just a cool way to see how 2D shapes can turn into 3D shapes. This is the front of the activity card. As you can see, it gives them a challenge. Draw a 2D outline to make a shape. It tells them what materials they need, and it gives them some directions to get started. So as you can see, the pictures and text help with that, especially for your kindergartners who aren't yet reading independently. The pictures can help them get started. On the back of the activity card, there's a what you should know section that gives them some information about kind of the related content. So here shows them the difference between flat and 3D shapes, when lines meet to create closed shapes, and what an outline is. There's also space where they can reflect. So they can draw a picture of their cookie cutter that they created. They could reflect on how it went, what challenges they encountered, all of that kind of stuff. Now, when you're having your students complete this, they'll likely need a little bit of support, either from you, potentially through a video to walk them through like the website a little bit. They may need like a sibling maybe to support them, or a parent. And there is a facilitator's guide that all of our teachers use when they teach this lesson in a SmartLab. But there's some good recommendations here on how to get started, what information you may want to front load, vocabulary you may want to use, etc. And so this is something that I would recommend sharing with families, and that way they can support their student, or you can use it as a way to structure some of your activities. Now, if you want to break this down into a couple days and some short activities, that is great. We have our students follow a project cycle that consists of time to explore. So that could be pulling up the website and just figuring out how it works. Then they spend time planning. So that would be, okay, you're going to draw a 2D outline to make a shape. What do you want your outline to be? Where will you put the kind of anchor points? Where will you create curved lines? So that would all be part of the planning. And then students actually do their project. And as they do it, they reflect on how it's going and they document. And then at the end, they share. So you could break this out into a couple days and have students just explore the website one day. And however you're giving instructions, whether that's in an email to parents or if that's posting on Seesaw or assigning it in Google Classroom, all sorts of ways that you could share that information. But I think that structure of giving them time to explore, having them plan how they're going to accomplish the challenge, actually doing it, and then some time to share, especially in the digital learning space, giving them opportunities to connect with their peers is really important. So having some way where they can share their project could be Flipgrid, it could just be posting a picture. However you choose to do it, whatever is easiest, and maybe whatever platform they already know, go for it. But that's a good way to structure out and break down this activity into some smaller chunks that are easily accomplished by your students. So there are a bunch of different activity cards in this list. As you see, digital communications has a couple, scientific data, they're looking at Google Earth, software engineering, there's a bunch. So you can have students navigate to the Launchpad and then navigate to the activity card. Or what you can do is you can use, I'm going to go back to the orientation node, digital learning, and this e-learning page. I created a tic-tac-toe board. And the nice thing about this tic-tac-toe board is that it has links and QR codes for the students to get to the activity card. So instead of having to click on activity cards, then the system, then the actual activity card. So all you have to do is click on the link and it will take them there. They're going to have to log in the first time. Luckily, e-learning in 2020 is pretty simple for younger kids. You could also have their parents or sibling help them log on the first time, and then they should be good to go as long as they don't restart their computer. It may ask them to log in again. Or you can just have them save the username and password. That way they don't have to log in every time they open up a browser. But that makes it really easy. The second page of this tic-tac-toe board is actually links and QR codes for the facilitators guides. So you can share the second page with parents, and that way it will take them to the facilitators guide so they can help their child complete the work. Usually, the more that you can set it up so it's independent, the better, because you're going to have parents who are continuing to work, who are trying to support maybe 3 or 4 kids at home who have assignments, recording little videos, breaking it down into smaller chunks, adding audio instructions, whatever is most appropriate for your kids so that they can work as independently as possible with the support of you and the others in their home, the best. Something else I want to point out on this page is that down here there are Google Drawings templates for each of these activity cards. So some facilitators were concerned that their students may not be able to print out the cards and reflect on it and then somehow share it back to their teacher. So what you can have students do is they can open up this activity card, and all you have to do is, save this and then send a link out to them so they can make their own copy. But the students can then use this to help guide them through the project, and then they can draw on top. I wanted to draw a picture. Let's see, I researched a person, so maybe I want to draw a person. And I learned that they had a really tall dad. I don't know. But the kids on here can document, they can add text to explain what they did. They can draw, which is really nice for your younger kids, especially if they have an iPad that they can use. It makes it really nice. But these you can make a copy of, customize if you want. You can share the link out to students so they can document. But it's all there for you. There's a template for all 9 of the activity cards that are on the tic-tac-toe board. So that's something that you could assign for them to do over an extended period of time. And that way the students can kind of schedule when they're working a little more flexibly. You may want to give them guidelines of, at this point you should have 2 of these done, at this point you should have 4 of these done, just to help them pace it a little bit. Assigning this project over a long period of time takes the pressure off of the parents and the kids a little bit and allows them to structure their time based on kind of what's happening at home. And that way they can really use their time wisely. There are also down here some express challenges. These are structured differently. They are structured like the curriculum we use with 3rd through 12th graders, where they have different tabs for the challenge, for background information, steps to do their project, and some extensions. This is definitely something that you could use, but keep in mind that the reading level is definitely higher. It's probably going to require some more support from you, potentially videos of reading it, or having them install a text to speech Chrome extension so that they can listen to it. Express challenges because they're shorter and a little less complex. They still require a lot of problem solving, but your second graders may find it more appropriate, especially if they're a little more independent in their reading. As you get started, please don't hesitate to reach out if you need additional resources. Keep in mind that all of our curriculum is designed to be student directed, with the teacher kind of serving as a guide and helping to structure the experience. So you can break down these activities into a couple different days and give some students, the guidance to tackle one chunk at a time. They are required to use problem solving skills to figure things out. And so setting up a space where they can ask questions, either of you or their partners, can be really helpful. With your really young learners, that might be Flipgrid, where they can put a video of asking a question and then have students respond to each other answering them. That can be really helpful for primary learners. So check out Flipgrid. That's a really good resource to have them share and reflect and use a video so they can all see each other's faces. The orientation node and this digital learning section will be your hub for finding resources to support your students. As additional requests come in and more resources are made, I'll continue to add them here. So check back every once in a while, and you may find something that really helps you implement SmartLab learning with your students.